Good morning, Spiritual Life Center. Welcome to the SLC Sunday Experience. We're so glad that you're here with us today. We want you to know that you're in the right place at the right time and your soul is welcome here.
Good morning. Good morning.
Isn't that right, Bejan?
Yes, it is. Good morning, SLC. All right, let's sing all together. Come on. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I am meant to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I am meant to be. In the right place, I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I am meant to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I am meant to be. In my soul. Oh, my soul is welcomed here. Oh, my soul is welcomed here. I am getting a message loud and clear. My soul is welcomed here. My soul is welcome and your souls are welcome. You're welcomed here. Our souls are welcome here. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I am meant to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I am meant to be. Oh, my soul is welcomed here. Oh, my soul is welcomed here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcomed here. Oh, my soul is welcomed here. Oh, my soul is welcomed here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcomed here. I'm getting the message. Getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcomed here. My soul is welcomed here. Let me see your hands up. Come on. My soul is welcomed. Internet community, we see you. You're welcome. We're here. We're welcomed here. My soul is welcome here. My soul is welcome here. Your soul is welcome here. We're all together in this. My soul is welcome here. Your soul is welcome. I am getting a message loud and clear. My soul is welcome
Indeed, our souls are welcome here. Good morning and welcome to the Spiritual Life Center Experience. Good morning, Reverend Deborah. Good to see you this morning.
Good morning, Reverend James, and it's great to be here. Honored to share the platform with you. And we greet you this morning in the name of all that is good, all that is holy, and all that is sacred, and in the warm and loving energy of this community, Spiritual Life Center. Spiritual Life Center honors all people worshiping in temples, mosques, churches, stone circles, and of course the beautiful temples of nature, because we know that there is no space that God does not grace. And if you're with us for the very first time today, whether it is online or in person, we especially welcome you because we know that you are not here by accident. Every single one of us is here by divine appointment. And we're always so grateful to be able to come together. And that gratitude extends to you silencing your electronic devices, and please refrain from flash photography during the service.
Well, let's take this moment to connect with His presence, recognizing that this presence, not all of us are one. And we take this time to especially connect with those who are part of the vibe-raising event taking place in Mesa, Arizona, where people have come from all over the country with the very purpose of creating a cosmic wave of divine and perfect love, so that this love will ripple throughout our entire planet. And we recognize that whenever two or more gather together in the name and the nature of the Spirit of the living God, that presence shows up. That presence of peace and joy and love and wisdom and all that is good and perfect. For this is what the Spirit of the living God is, and this is what we are at depth. So we recognize this truth, and we simply join in with all others who are on this path and see the vision of possibilities for the planet and for all of humanity. So we go forth doing our part right where we are at our part of the universe. And as we do our part, we know that everyone is affected in some way, shape, or form. And so it is, and so we let it be. Amen. Well, we have a very important purpose here at Spiritual Life Center as reflected in our mission statement. And I invite you to join in as we affirm it together. To transform lives as we love, serve, and remember. And we carry out that purpose and mission by fulfilling and doing the best that we can to live according to these 5 basic principles. Again, let's speak them aloud. God is absolute good and everywhere present. People are inherently good. Thoughts create our experiences. Prayer and meditation are how we connect with God, and we must take action.
And speaking of action, we have another Notes and Jokes, an evening of music and humor coming up on February 10th. This is a save the date. Next week we will give you details, and next week you'll be able to start registering for it. So stay tuned.
Okay, be there square for Notes and Jokes. We have a Board of Trustees update every month. We usually have a member of our Board of Trustees to come and share what they're working on and what may be important for you to know. So we have Claudia, who's our member of our Board of Trustees, and all of you know her. If you don't, you need to get to know her because she will uplift your life.
Yeah. Good morning. So we would want you to know about the community meeting that's coming up next Sunday. It's going to be after the 11 o'clock service, and so it'll let you know what's all going on with the church. And then this past Tuesday, we had a board and staff meeting, planning meeting, that we got a lot of great ideas. It was very, we got a lot done. And playing off the MLK, I Have a Dream, we put the hearts on the back, we put on those our dreams for the world and for the church. So when you're going out, you look at the hearts on the back wall. And we have had some vandalism here at the church, and so I'm the head of facilities, so we are working on it, so let you know that. And let's see, I wanted to update you on the oneness symbol. We took it down for the holidays, and it needed some attention, and I have been endowed with authorized to get a stained glass film that will cling to the glass. And so that will be housed behind the oneness symbol. And we'll change out different symbols on the back, this back window. And right now we have this really peaceful bird and mountains. And so we'll be changing out things interactively. But it's nice to have something that's on the glass, so when we have weddings and memorial services, it's more appropriate. So that's what we got going on. Call me, talk to me if you have any questions.
Thank you,
Claudia Norton-Tobert.
Claudia Norton-Tobert.
And just remember, we have a lot of activities here at SLC, and they foster the transformation in our lives. So check out our weekly small groups and our other offerings. And to discover all the happenings at SLC, you can, of course, go to our website. If you're here in person, you can go out to the courtyard. There's a bulletin board that has a list of, or pictures, actually, of the things that are going on. And then to get more information, visit the lovely ladies at the hub, and they can fill you in.
Well, this time I invite any of our chaplains or board members that are here this morning. And we have, of course, Claudia and the chaplains here. And the chaplains, of course, wearing the white stoles and are available to, among other things, pray with you immediately after the service if you have a prayer need or you're going through a challenge or just want to celebrate something magnificent or just raise the vibration for our community and the world. They're more than happy to pray with you immediately after the service. We thank them for their contribution and consciousness. And our board members kind of keep you informed of what's going on, as you just heard from Claudia. And they do a lot of work behind the scenes to keep us moving forward as a collective community. And if you have any questions you'd like to ask of the board, they'll be more than happy to answer those questions. And we do thank them for giving their time, their talent, their skills that helps us move forward as a collective community. So thank you so much for your work.
And we'd love to welcome our newcomers. In a moment, we'll ask you to raise your hand. But first, we want you to know there are many ways to become connected at Spiritual Life Center. And one way to do that is to fill out the welcome card. Now, that welcome card is available online. You go to our website, fill it out, submit it, and we'll get back to you. If you're here in person, raise your hand and keep it up long enough for us to find you. And then fill it out, take it to the courtyard, to the welcome table where there is a special guest, special gift, and a very warm welcome.
So if you are here for the first time, raise your hand. I see some hands going up. We thank you so much for being here and joining with us here this morning. And we support you on your spiritual journey, whatever that may be, because we want to see you unfold to be the very best that you can be. And we behold the magnificence that you are and are continuing to become in your life. So at this time, not only we invite you to greet our newcomers in a way that feels comfortable for you, but I invite you to just simply greet another person and just say, "You are marvelous, glad you are here."
Everyone, we're going to sing our group song, I Trust in God. Because that's all you can trust, in God. Yeah. The vibration is rising, y'all. Let's all sing together. Ready? I'm thankful, so grateful. I am one in the Spirit all around me. I'm thankful, so grateful. I trust in God. I'm thankful, so thankful, so grateful. I am
energy flowing there. So I invite us all now to embody these words as we speak them together. This is our vision for Spiritual Life Center for the world. Spiritual Life Center is a loving, vibrant family that welcomes home all people and accepts everyone, no exceptions. Weaving ancient spiritual traditions with emerging wisdom, we cultivate a spiritual deepening with the divine, each other, and our planet.
You are the heart, you are the hands, you are the voice of spirit on earth, and who you are and all you do is a blessing to the world. You are the heart, you are the hands, you are the voice of spirit on earth, and who you are and all you do is a blessing to the world. We are the heart, we are the hands, we are the voice of spirit on earth, and who we are and all we do is a blessing to the world. I am the heart, I am the hands, I am the voice of spirit on earth, and who I am and all I do is a blessing to the world. I am the heart, I am the hands, I am the heart, I am the hands. You are the heart, you are the hands, you are the heart, you are the hands. We are the heart, we are the hands, we are the heart, we are the blessing to the world. We're a blessing to the world.
Heart, hands, voice. We are. As we settle into this time of quiet, breathe naturally and simply be aware of how you relax with each breath. And breathe into the back of your heart, melt into your seat. Allow your vision to become soft and cloudy as you close your eyes. And bring your focus to the gentle background music. And imagine it as a musical stream flowing into the middle of your chest and directly into your physical heart. This musical energy slowly rotates and becomes a spiral, winding its way around your heart and expanding so that your entire chest is filled with a spiral of healing, musical energy. As a spiral goes round, a small spiral arm separates out and rotates down your torso to fill your left leg and foot. And now another spiral arm appears and makes its way down, filling your right leg and foot. As the main spiral spins in your torso, yet another arm spins off into your left shoulder, arm, and hand. And another spins off into your right shoulder, your arm, and your hand. And now that main spiral sends off one more arm up through your neck and into your head. You are a galaxy, your heart the center. It is a movement of spirit within you that rotates the spinal spiral and sends the arms of musical light to the far reaches of your body. Each cell is infused with this God light energy. Every cell activated. Every cell wakes up and joins in this dance of love, light, and healing. For a dance is what this is. The essence of God energy moves and circulates in and around you. Each cell activates the next. They dance with each other in the light of God, and they know every step of the dance. Your very essence is dancing with the one source, the light of light, the one holy energy. There is nothing in you but love and light. And you laugh in the pure joy of dancing with Spirit, never missing a step, of being in complete harmony with your source. You feel so alive as you dance with the divine in the silence. God in you, you in God. You feel so alive. And as you take a breath and begin to return to your physical body, please receive this blessing. Oh, my beloved, God lives and moves within you. Light, love, and healing, the movement of Spirit within you is perpetual. It is what makes you feel so vital, so alive. And though you must return to worldly concerns, know that you are never alone. And you shall always be lifted to new heights by love and light. You are always dancing with God. Remember this, always.
whispered in my ear. What would I do if they all disappeared? Riches and fame and all that they could buy, I've come to find they never satisfy. What would I gain if my soul's the prize? I don't wanna love what the world loves. I don't wanna chase what the world does. I only want you. I only want you. First things first, I seek your will, not my own. Surrender all my wants to you. Keep the first things first. To live your truth, walk your ways, set my eyes. Oh, I fix my face on you. All my desires reversed. To keep the first things first. I give it all, my life an offering. My heart is yours, so have your way with me. Your kingdom's all I want to see. I don't want to love what the world loves. I don't want to chase what the world does. I only want you. I only want you. First things first, I seek your will, not my own. Surrender all my wants to you. Keep the first things first. To live your truth, walk your ways, set my eyes. Oh, I fix my face on you. All my desires reversed. To keep the first things first. To keep the first things first. All my desires reversed. To keep the first things first. Oh, to keep the first things first. Oh, first things first, I seek your will, not my own. Surrender all my wants to you. Hey, keep the first things first. To live your truth, to walk your ways, set my eyes. Oh, I fix my face on you. All my desires reverse. To keep the first things first. Oh, to keep the first things first. Oh, to keep the first things first. All my desires reversed. Keep the first things first.
Dejan.
Thank you, Bejan. Thank you, Loree. Thank you, Soul Light Connection. Just got a song that's exactly what the title is. I don't know how you do it.
It's called Web Search.
The web search. Well, good morning. And welcome to the Spiritual Life Center Experience. As I was thinking of this talk, I remember reading a book, and it was by a gentleman named William McCraven, and he was a former Navy SEAL, an admiral, which I think is really high up there. And the title of his book was Make Your Bed. And it's a leadership book, but one of the things that he said in it is that making your bed first thing in the morning can lead to many tasks completed by the end of the day. So even if you have a bad day, at least when you come back, you have a made-up bed. And it kind of reminded me, I think I shared this before, about a cousin I had who passed away. His name was Gene. He was older than I was. But he also was in the Navy, and I looked up to him because he was kind of like a superhero to me because he had the same uniform that Popeye had. I thought it was really cool when I was young. And he also taught me, you know, how to make the bed the Navy way and, you know, how they do in the military. And he said something that's very similar to what the Admiral said. He said that in a very kind of guru-like way to me, that when you make your bed, the first thing in the morning, you set the tone for your day. And it puts your day on a positive course. It puts your day on a positive direction. Now, at the time when he was saying this, I thought he was trying to trick me into making my bed every day, but I actually kept that up pretty much most days of my life. But as we talk about first things first today in the topic, we're also going to talk about not only making up our bed as a beneficial act to set the foundation for a good day, but there's a spiritual practice that we get to use. I don't say, you know, we have to use it, but we choose to use it if we choose to. And that's to set our foundation on a positive day. And it's stated in this statement in Master Teacher Jesus the Christ's words when he said in Matthew that seek ye first the kingdom of God and all of his righteousness, and all the things will be added unto you. When we talk about kingdom or kingdom of heaven, we're really talking about expansion. It really meant in the Greek word expansion, ever expanding good. But it's interesting that this topic about the kingdom was also referred to in the Gospel of Thomas. And the Gospel of Thomas is those writings that were found many years later that didn't make it into the official Bible. And we can have a whole conversation of how the Bible was put together, because there's a group of people that came together and said, well, we like this, put that in. Oh, we don't like that, take that out. Anyway, there's the Gospel of Thomas. And, you know, the disciples asked Jesus, well, when will the kingdom come? And Jesus said, it will not come by waiting for it. It will not come as a matter of saying it is here or it is there. Rather, this kingdom of heaven is spread out all over the earth, and people do not see it. It's an invisible presence. It's all-knowing. It's all-powerful. It is everywhere present. I like to use the word as omni-active, active everywhere. And I think the first thing that we do before anything in the outer world, we need to connect with this presence, to commune with this presence. Sometimes it's known as going to that secret place of the Most High as being the most important action that we can take to prepare our day. I remember years ago when I was first getting into ministry, and I think some classes, and there was an instructor, and we had to do some practice talks, and I was talking about preparing and getting myself fired up, and he said, no, don't get fired up. Become still, become quiet. First, make that connection with that presence. And then the force of the universe will be behind you to move you forward. And as I looked at that idea, I looked at athletes, elite athletes, or dancers, or singers, or entertainers, or lecturers, nearly all of them, many of them without fail, connect with this presence in some way, shape, or form. Some may call it prayer. Some may call it meditation. Some may call it silence. Some simply may call it communing with the force or communing with nature. And it may appear that they're doing nothing. But rather than saying, don't just sit there, do something, they're saying, don't just do something, sit there. And then go forth to your project. Then go forth to your activity. Here's a song that I sometimes allow pop up into my mind. I think it's also by Ricky Byers. We sang a song of hers earlier. She said something to the effect, I used to think that I needed somebody. But all I needed was my connection with God. All I needed was my connection with this presence. And everything begins to work for us. That connection is making first things first. And I believe when we go to that secret place of the Most High, something dynamic, something beneficial, something awesome can happen and will happen when we make that connection. So I was going to share some benefits, I think, for going to that kingdom or spiritually making the first things first. And I think the first one, the benefit, is that you get to think the thoughts of God. You know, there's a statement that says, it is not written that ye are gods in the Gospel of John. Now, we're not saying that we are God, just like the cup of the ocean is not the ocean. Rather, it simply means that we can take on, that we can think, and we can embody the divine ideas of spirit. You know, I think it was Buddha who said that we're shaped by our thoughts. And understand that we have to be aware that if we're not thinking for ourselves, a lot of times we're not, we think we are, then someone or something is thinking for us. So if we have someone or something think for us, why don't we think like the presence of God? I mean, what can be better than thinking the thoughts around a God of love? Thinking around abundance, thinking around wholeness, thinking about forgiveness, thinking around joy, and making that the activity of our awareness. And I believe when we do, we learn how to be available to insights and revelations that are seeking to occur each and every moment of our life. There's an insight trying to happen to us all the time, a revelation trying to reveal itself through us. Every moment of our life, there is something trying to emerge and saying in substance or in so many words, I want to be more through you. I want to express more through you. I want to live more through you. There's an author by the name of Stephen Pressfield, and he wrote a book, and he also was a movie that was made from this book called The Legend of Bagger Vance. I love that movie. I don't know why it was so not that familiar to most people. Now, superficially, it's described as a golf story, but really, it's a spiritual journey about the main character. Just to briefly give you a synopsis of it, it was like during the Great Depression, and there was a Georgia socialite who was announcing a publicity-garnering, high-stakes golf tournament. And their golf course was struggling. And the tournament then was going to draw a bunch of people and feature the greatest golfers that were around at that time. And the main character, who was a once promising local golfer named Rudolph Juna. Now, interestingly, it's really, I think, the play off the god of Arjuna from the Bhagavad Gita, yes. And anyway, Rudolph Juna, whose career had been derailed by the war. And he was brought in to draw other people because he was really famous just before he went to the war, but his game was shot. He was weak. And then there came this enigmatic character called Bagger Vance. And Bagger Vance offered to coach him. And Bagger Vance is probably based upon, I think, from the Bhagavad Gita. As I kept looking at the movie, yeah, the Bhagavad Gita, that's kind of where he got that name from. And he offered to coach Rudolph Juna to help him become the great golfer that he used to be. Now, his advice was filled with spiritual principles. And I tell you, this is my Netflix pick of the week. I don't know if it's on Netflix. It needs to be. But check it out. It's an older movie, but it's a cool movie to check out. But anyway, that's really not the main reason I want to talk about it. But the author shared that for years, he struggled with disappointment and rejection of all his work. He tried to write novels, and they kept getting rejected, and he wasn't making any progress. But he said he made that connection. He made that first thing first was he wrote this novel. And the result was not only was he successful in that novel that turned into a screenplay and a successful Hollywood career, but he had several successful novels at that. And when he was interviewed, he said, I'm a believer in another dimension of reality. And in that dimension is the source of all ideas. He called it the muse. That energy can flow through us if we get ourselves out of the way, get our ego out of the way. And that energy is constantly flowing through us or wants to flow through us, and it demands that we use it. And he said it's our job to bring in existence those ideas. And so, writers do it when they write stories. Musicians do it when they sing songs or write songs. Choreographers do it when they have dances. Artists do it when they have paintings. But it's not limited just to the artists, but to anything that we do. And I believe it's our job to bring this into our world. And that flow never stops. And I think if we ignore it, we get that divine discontent. We realize that there's something more in us trying to be expressed, and we don't quite get there if we're not in that flow. And according to Pressfield, we've got to respond to that river flowing through us. I don't know if we have to. I think it's just our privilege. We can choose not to do it. But when we do that, we begin to think like God, and we return to the realm of God, which I think is real thinking. When we make first things first, when we're praying, when we're meditating, we're contemplating and opening ourselves up to this presence, we begin to think from insight. We can think from revelation. We begin to think from inspiration. And the God presence in all of us begins to think through us. It says in Proverbs 16, chapter 3rd verse, commit thy works unto the Lord, which is the great law of life. Commit thy thoughts, and they shall be established. And we want to feel our way into that connection because it's very powerful. So I think the benefit number one of putting first things first is that we begin to think like the presence of God. But this leads us into a second benefit of putting first things first. We stop being influenced by the thoughts forms of our society. Our thoughts are based on where we place our interest at any given moment. And then when we put first things first, when we seek to connect with that kingdom, that heaven, we're committing our life, we're committing our work, we're committing our whole way of being to the great law of life. That's what the Lord is, the great law of life, and that's the law of success. That's the law of spiritual abundance. That's the law of beauty. That's the law of love. The law of more and more and more life. And when we commit our work unto that law of life, our thoughts are established based upon the fact that we're becoming interested in that and that only. And we're no longer worrying. No more worrying. Now, because sometimes we have thoughts, I don't know about you, but sometimes when we get kind of caught up in the outside world, we start thinking, oh, that thought that just came into my head, oh my God, that's not a good thought. Is that going to manifest in my life? Oh, I've been learning about this stuff. I've been coming to Spiritual Life Center about the power of thought and how creative it is. And the past few weeks, I've been reading about all the latest diseases and all the stuff that's going on and having all these negative things come through my mind. And I have all these fearful thoughts are beginning to take over my life. Does that mean I'm going to catch something or some sort of negative things are going to happen in my experience today? Oh, my God. What's going to happen? I wish I didn't know all this stuff that I've been learning, because I was much better off when I didn't know anything about this stuff before, about the creative thought and power of what's going through our life. We don't want to do that. We want to become aware what's passing through our awareness and have those thoughts of God. And so when we put first things first, we're so interested in the power. We're so interested in the presence. We're so interested in the love of God. It becomes what we feel more predominantly in our whole being. I was around some folks one time. They were talking about how bad things were coming in their life and how they seem to be falling under the weight of all the oppression of the world. And I said, well, I'm surrounded by a force field. And they said, oh, force field. Yeah, let me put on my force field. We could put on that force field. Those negative thoughts will pass through, but they will not stick. We will not get our awareness tangled up in that kind of predominant feeling because we are not doing our energy in making it caught up in all of that. They won't stick. They'll just keep on passing through. And the reason they'll keep on passing through is because we are not interested in them. We become interested first, last, and all in between in the power of the force, the thoughts of God, the will of God, and knowing that the thoughts and the will of God are always a greater expression of life. So that's the second benefit We're not get caught up in the craziness of the world. You know, when we read about Satan in the scriptural reference, you know, Satan really just meant crazy thoughts. You know, when we hear the term, get thee behind thee, Satan, get behind me, crazy thoughts. That's all it's saying. Or, you know, go away. Or if you're going to do anything, get behind and support me to move forward and develop the very best myself I can become. And then finally, the third benefit of putting first things first. We begin to put unshakable belief in our affirmative prayer work. You know, when we listen to that master teacher once again, and he said, pray believing that ye have, that you may receive. He's reminding us that this is the byproduct of putting first things first. Because we're reminded that our prayer is already answered. He said, pray believing that you already have what you want, that you may receive it, that you may accept it, that you may demonstrate it, that you may manifest it, that you may behold, allow it, let it reveal itself. In other words, as we stop and commune with that presence, we get a clean awareness that our starting point in life is that we already have it. It is already done. You know, my son is doing a lot of, he graduated recently, thank God, and from college. And he's, and one of his passions, and, he probably eventually go to law school. I don't know but right now he's working on like his hip hop music and the studio that he created. And so I've been kind of working with him and learning a little bit about the genre. And not only the artists, but also some of the higher-ups, the executives. And so I became familiar with one of the players in the industry. His name is Dame Dash. And he's from the rough and tumble streets of New York. And seemingly against all odds, his mother died when he was 15 years old, and he kind of was pretty much on his own. But he did not become another statistic in the pile of potential of many others around him from his neighborhood. And so he started his own record label and created a company that turned into kind of like an unstoppable juggernaut. Because he created responsible for 9 #1 albums and the careers of many other of his artists that worked with him. And he also went into other areas of business, a clothing company that made $500 million in revenue. And he starred and created and produced, successful movies. And he got his own movie studio and streaming service. This guy was just incredible. And when you grasp the odds he had to overcome, it's nothing short of awe-inspiring. It really was motivating. But what interested me was his approach and perspective in life. He said that whatever project that he takes on, he has the assumption that it's already done, that the idea is already complete. Because we know that everything is created twice, first in the spiritual plane, then in the physical, first on the inner, then the outer. And so when he makes that connection, he says he visualizes that future as if he's already there. He's made that connection. And that's what I believe it means to pray believing. And he gets every single person that's around him to align with that vision and make sure that everyone is in that same thought form and everyone has one goal, believing that it's already done because it is complete in the mind of God. I think the point is he knows that any idea that he communes with comes from the idea sphere, and he can manifest it. And he says he knows he never gets an idea that he feels in his heart is right for him without the means of the Spirit providing him a way to make it happen. So we say, seek ye first the kingdom, put first things first, so that we have an unshakable belief in our prayer when we utter them. It's not just words. We know that it is done. Anyway, as we close out, just going to remember a few things. First thing first, the kingdom of God and all of its righteousness, what we're talking about, we're lifting our attention to where our help always comes from. And when we make that connection, we say, how awesome is the God that I serve. What does God have in store for me today? How will God show up in my life today? And the infinite nature of this universe will show up in ways upon ways upon ways we never even imagined. And we'll be able to demonstrate how wonderful God is, how loving God is, how forgiving God is, how healing God is. And we will stand in the awareness that there is nothing life can do to us that can break us. Yeah, we may bend like the willow. But when you and I seek first and foremost the presence of this unchanging presence we call God, there is nothing, no life experience that can break us. And so we listen. We get that connection. We keep the net of our minds open. And we don't open the door till we know who it is. And when we hear that voice and it says to us, oh, it is I. The Spirit of the living God is knocking at our heart, causing us to expand beyond our wildest imaginings. And it says, let me in. So the Spirit of God washes all over us. This is the truth as we move from maybe being a victim to a victor to a vessel of the Spirit of God. So I just invite you to stay with me if you don't mind. My life is the life of God. My life is the life of God. I am victorious. I am a victor. I am a vessel of love. I'm a vessel of peace. I am a vessel of passion. And I am a vessel of forgiveness. I am a victorious vessel of God. Understand, when we make that connection to this presence, seeking first the kingdom of the Spirit of the living God, that becomes the vibration that we're living from. And we begin to lift ourselves and we begin to lift the entire world. That's what happens when we make first things first. Well, next week, Reverend Deborah is going to be speaking to us on the topic moving forward as we build upon this theme of, I guess, going from the, what do we do after first things first, as we make that connection. So we look forward to having that experience next week. And at this time, I invite those who may be watching online to offer your gift, your offering, so that we can continue to spread this awareness to so many people that are looking for what we have to offer that can make a difference in their life. And you can do so by simply texting 44321 and then write in SLC Love, and it'll take you to the page in which you can give online. Or you can go to our website, slcworld.org, click the Donate tab, and it'll give you other ways that you can give, including by mail. For those who are present today that wish to give, we invite you to symbolically raise your gift to the heavens, which is, we know, ever-expanding good. And if you've given already by mail or electronically or electronic funds automatically, then know that you are in the flow of something that can never change, and that is whatever we give out does indeed come back to us in ways we never may have imagined. And so we can never give out the presence of God, so as we give, we recognize that. And so let us affirm now our offertory blessing together. Divine love, as me, blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, and all that I circulate. Thank you, God.
scripture told me that I had to be good. But now I love because I want to. I love because I am free. Thank God by the Spirit. Oh Lord, the Spirit of God is upon me. Yes, it is. Every day, it's upon me. Yes, it is. It's upon me. Oh, the Spirit of God is upon me. Oh, the Spirit of God is upon me. Oh, I don't need any prodding. I don't need any law. I want to sing with all my heart that God is my all I know. I let go of my burden. Loving God has made me free. Blinded by the Spirit. Oh Lord, the Spirit of God is upon me. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. It's upon me. Don't you know? It's upon me. Oh, yes, it is. Yeah. It's upon me. Oh,
Yes, God.
the Spirit of God is upon me.
That's all.
It was my duty. I thought it was my job. Somewhere I believed that loving God would be hard. But now I love loving God because God has made me free. I'm blinded by the Spirit. Oh Lord, the Spirit of God is upon me. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. It's upon me. Don't you know? It's upon me. Oh, yes, it is. It's upon me. Oh, hey, the Spirit of God is upon me. Whoa, hey, the Spirit of God is upon me. Oh, hey, the Spirit of God is upon me. Oh, yeah, the Spirit of God is upon me. Oh, here we go. Hey, the Spirit of God is upon me. Oh, hey.
If you didn't feel it before, you feel it now. The Spirit of God is indeed upon each and every one of us. And so we take this time to recognize that the Spirit of God is supporting all those who have supported Spiritual Life Center with their gift, with their offering, whatever it may be, because it represents an energy of divine love. And as we support this community to provide a place for those who wish to grow, develop, and unfold in their own right spiritually, we know that not only are they lifted up, but all of us are lifted up. For we indeed are one in the Spirit. And we take this time to simply bless those who have left prayers in the prayer box today or throughout the week. And we all have challenges along the way in life. And at some point we may say, I can't, but the Spirit of the living God can provide the answer. So we simply let go and let God. And as we let go and let God, we recognize and know that as we connect with that presence, we are aware that the answer has already been provided. It already exists. As that statement goes, before they call, I have already answered you. So even before we utter the prayer or make the request, we recognize and know and affirm that the answer is there. And it may come from places we never imagined. It may be in ways we never thought of. But we know that it's there to help us grow, develop, or unfold, or for us to simply learn from. So we affirm that the prayers have already been answered. And we know that this energy will continue on as the prayers go on to silent unity, where they'll be prayed over and the energy held for an additional 30 days. So we're grateful for the opportunity to utter that prayer, to affirm the truth, and support those who may be going through a challenge right now. And so it is, and so we let it be. Amen. So with that, let us affirm our prayer for protection and simply embody that, feel that totally and completely. The light of God surrounds us. I am the light of God. The love of God enfolds us. I am the love of God. The power of God protects us. I am the power of God. The presence of God watches over us. I am the presence of God. Wherever we are, God is. I am. And all is well. And that's the truth. All right. Peace and blessing to you. Have a great week. And remember to make first things first.
Stick around. We got a little something for you Russell wrote if you're interested in checking it out. We got some lyrics that we added.
We are shaped by our thoughts. So take a second and stop. Connect with yourself, 'cause you are all that you have. And we sing, ooh, and we sing, ah. stop. You better go ahead and stop.
You gotta connect with yourself. Make first things all first. Make first things all first.
First things all first.
And we sing.
Shaped by our thoughts. So take a second step. Connect with yourself. Make first things first.
Make things come first, always first. Ooh. 'Cause we are shaped by our own thoughts. You gotta take a second and stop. Connect with yourself. Oh, oh, oh. And you gotta sing. You gotta sing. Just let it all out.
That was improv, y'all.
Totally improv.
Totally improv. Improv.
Russell did write the tune. The music, everyone just puts it together.
Thank you for sticking around.
Thanks, guys.